Hey, fragrance friends and lovers, how you doing today? What is your scent of the day? What are you wearing? What are you enjoying? For me, what we have on the chopping block to review here today at this fragrance channel is Costa Azzura Acqua. Before we do this fragrance review and jump in, I'm giving you tons of value, helping you truly understand this fragrance, explore the world of scents and perfumes and all that good stuff. So help me down below. You know exactly what to do. So first off, this is a flanker of Costa Azzura. If you're familiar, Costa Azzura has gone to their regular line. It's no longer in their private line, and it's much more affordable. So this is what, or was in their private line. This one's actually fairly discontinued, recently discontinued, and really out the door. But I have some funny things to say about the price about this one. So some good and some bad. We'll talk about at the end of the video. But what does this fragrance even smell like? You're like, Ben, watching this channel, Centaur Fragrance, what does this fragrance even smell like? So first off, this is an interesting one. You're going to get a little bit of juniper, actually a fair amount of juniper. I love that for its gin-like qualities. You get a little bit of like lemon off the top. I really like it. Let me spray it here for you to remind myself of what this fragrance smells like. I really enjoy this one. This is really nice. You get some juniper, there's some pine, there's some myrtle, which adds a really interesting, like, calming, woody effect. Almost gives it a lavender-esque woody feel that's very airy to it. So this isn't a dense woody fragrance. And again, it's not an aquatic. It's definitely not exactly a blue fragrance. This is not Tom Ford Sauvage. This is actually a fresh, woody fragrance. Costa Azzura, the original one, was a little like that, but this one gives you actually a lot more woods, but they're more transparent woods, and it doesn't exactly go in a musky direction. But as we get into the dry down, again, there's a tiny bit of pine, some pine needles, which give it a tiny hint of a sharp green, but it doesn't last very long, and it doesn't become an herbaceous fragrance, and really doesn't become a green fragrance at all. So you don't need to be afraid of that if you don't like really a lot of green in your fragrance. But it might give you a little bit of that modern fougere-esque vibe, just a hint of it, but really there's not much of any of that DNA in this fragrance. What this fragrance really does in the dry down is it has some mastic oil, which gives it a little bit of this leathery feel. That can be dark and heavy, but here it's more like almost like musky and smooth leather. Really nice, and there's a little bit of labdanum as well. There's a little bit of a smooth incense. Maybe it has the tiniest hint of sweetness to the incense, but again, this is not a sweet fragrance. Overall, this is a very nice, refreshing fragrance. This is, again, not a eau de cologne concentration. I do not believe it is, but it kind of acts that way and feels that way. We're about to get into the performance, but that's what this fragrance really feels like. It really does. It feels like an eau de cologne almost style fragrance, and how it comes across and how it feels in this woody way. Blended. I really like this composition. This is one of my favorite compositions from Tom Ford. Straight off the bat, I should say this to the end of the review, but I might like the smell of the original Costa Azzura better, but artistically speaking, some people might say this is simple, some people might not. Pay attention to the little nuances of this fragrance, but this is one of the more creative fragrance in subtle ways, little things in this fragrance that's creative, just like Rive d'Ambre, which doesn't seem to be that liked, and I saw some people falling in love with it a couple months ago, and I was the one about a year or so ago who really spoke highly of Rive d'Ambre. I think that one's discontinued as well. We'll talk about that and the price again at the later end of the video. I mentioned that this was an eau de cologne feeling fragrance, and it's very refreshing. It's very lively. It has some spunk about it. I love it. It has a little bit almost of that Italian feel to it. And this is what a unique, fresh fragrance should be. Again, if you're trying to get away from aquatics, you don't like the salt or the cucumber or anything like that, but you want something that's similar to an aquatic. Or maybe you smell lots of Italian citruses, but you want something that's more easygoing, but still refined. Still could be dressed up a little bit classy. It's not an overtly classy fragrance, but certainly could be dressed up. It has that DNA. This fragrance is great for that. But again, you got to talk about when you're speaking about this fragrance, you got to talk about how poor the performance is. And that's one of the things that takes away from this fragrance. You're only going to get 3 or 4 hours of longevity, and you might say, that's pretty darn bad, I don't want to mess with it. Some people might say, I might mess with it. But it also has maybe slightly below average projection. So it doesn't project that well. and it doesn't last that well. So it has big negatives that way. But again, if maybe you had lots of money or you really like that fresh feeling, and you want a unique twist on what a fresh fragrance can be, this is, again, one of the better ones for that. But again, the performance is just so bad. Tom Ford, this is another one. Why did you release a fragrance that you knew that performed this badly? I just don't know why you would do it, especially when it's a fragrance that is this great. Even Rive d'Ombre, which again, artistic, it's a completely different fragrance, but does an interesting modern chic twist on, you know, what a fresh fragrance can be. That fragrance has a good amount of focus on amber in a way, and that one only lasts about 6 hours. And of course, you know about Lost Cherry and some of these other fragrances. So Tom Ford, some of them perform, and some of them just simply don't perform. And I'm sad to say that this is one of them, those that don't. And if this would have lasted, this would have been one of the best fresh fragrances out there. People would have been hollering about it, about how good it was, if it would have lasted 8 hours and given us decent or good projection overall. I think this would have been fairly popular, especially amongst maybe the more classy gentlemen, kind of guys out there. So compliment factor wise, this did get some positive reactions, but again, you have to be fairly close to people because this stuff does not really reach out there. This is not going to grab attention. Yes, you can put on 10 or 20 sprays of this and overcome the performance issues, but again, when you overspray or put on tons of sprays, that might give you a little bit better longevity. It will, but what it really does is just help with projection a bit. And this will never become a projection beast, even if you doused yourself with it. At least I don't think it would be. I've put on quite a few sprays of this a time or two, and this stuff can get you noticed, but again, again, you have to be fairly close to people. Arm's length or maybe closer, elbows length in. When people do smell this one, though, it's comforting in a nice way without having to have spices that are comforting. There is incense, but it's comforting in this fresh, calming, woody way. It's like familiar, but also a little bit different. So it's not exactly curious in a strange way, but I think curious in a nice way. And again, it makes people, you come across as very confident and also refined with a fragrance like this. And it's fresh, and it's in a good way. So my final thoughts with this fragrance. One of the reasons I'm bringing you this review, honestly, today is because this has been discontinued. That's what you need to know. And a lot of Tom Fords were really, I guess I can say recently, I think it was about 6 months ago, Tom Ford discontinued a lot of their fragrances, even some of the ones they had, revamped or brought back to the market. And this one, not everybody knows about it, not everybody's heard about it, and some of the people have spoken about it. I love it. I've seen some raving reviews, and I've seen some people who truly believe that this is one of the best fresh fragrances out there, and it really is a great fresh composition. And when it first came out, it was, again, a private line fragrance. It was $350 odd, $300 odd. But now, because this one's discontinued and almost nobody talks about it, this is actually one of the cheapest Tom Fords I've actually ever seen. You can get this one for about $140 or even less. There's a few bottles out there on Fragrantica at the time of this recording. Once this video gets uploaded, I don't know if those deals will still be out there, but if you do like colognes, aftershave fragrances, you want something that's going to refresh you out of the shower, something that has class and quality, this might be something you want to check out. I'm not hyping this. I know that a lot of people will, the performance is not acceptable, and if you're somebody younger who wants a more mass appeal, again, this is wearable and likable, but there's plenty of other mass appealing fragrances that, are just going to be more universally easy to wear for you and universally likable to other people. So this is going to be average likability to some maybe you younger crowd or the people who want to go to the clubs or the party scene and all that. But again, I like the bottle. I do wish that they would have actually committed to an aquatic fragrance if you're going to give us a bottle like this and call it the Costa Azzura, which was already an aquatic idea in my opinion. I was expecting this to be an eau fraiche version of the original, like an aquatic version, because Costa Azzura wasn't exactly an aquatic fragrance to begin with. I was hoping that this was going to be the one. Do I really love the composition? What they did? Yes. But do I Tom Ford, I don't know what you're doing with the performance and with the name, with people's expectations. Again, I really like this bottle. I feel like it's one of Tom Ford's most beautiful bottles that they've ever made as well, which might not be the most important thing, but this draws the eye, this draws the attention, and this is a beautiful bottle here, blue glass, and it should have really been an aquatic. It really should have. And the fragrance that you bottled and put in this, I don't know, it should have been some kind of like fresh woody fragrance, or you should have mixed the DNA and made it a woody, quite like a boisé flanker to Soleil Niche or something. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this review today. Let me know, what do you feel about this fragrance here today? What are your feelings? What are your opinions about this fragrance? Do you have any opinions? Have you ever heard about this fragrance? I feel like this might be another discontinued one that you've never heard of. So again, if you want to step up your game, maybe you're tired of aftershaves, or maybe you want a really high quality fragrance that's going to refresh you in a little bit of a different way out of the shower. Maybe you're a gentleman who likes to do that kind of thing. This might be the fragrance for you. But again, for most people, this one's out the door. This one's forgotten about. And sadly, it's going to probably be that way. But get it while you can. If you love this fragrance, again, I've talked to some people. They actually are in love with this fragrance. It's one of their favorites of all time. And it's actually, I've seen a lot of gents out there who say this is one of the few fragrances that their wives actually like on them. So it does have this confident, classy, reserved, soft, likable, comforting quality about it. So let me know what you think about it. Again, I'll see you soon, everybody. I upload Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays fragrance reviews just for you. And again, if you want to join the Centaur Fragrance family, you know what to do down below. So I'll see you soon, everybody, in the next fragrance review. And I have a very active, very growing, happy to say, a lot more successful than here on YouTube, Instagram. So why don't you join me over there? I'd love to share my scent of the days, my unboxings, and everything I have going on over there. So I'll see you soon, everybody. Enjoy this fragrance if you can. It's worth checking out if you can possibly get your nose on it. If not, I don't know. There's another good fresh fragrance I'm sure that's going to come out. But this one in Rive d'Ombre really twisted it up. Again, it was chic and it was different. And I hope that I'll come across another chic, innovative, creative, fresh fragrance that's just not another Bleu de Chanel Sauvage or a fresh fragrance style that we've already smelled before. So anyways, I'll see you soon, everybody. Have a good one. Have a beautiful day, and enjoy the fragrance world. Wear what you love. I'll see you soon. Bye.